David Toborowsky and Annie Suwan have been one of the most successful marriages to come out of the 90 Day Fiancé franchise. Their love story began in Annie's native Thailand, where David was living after going through a difficult time. Here are some fun facts about the happy couple. Before David Toborowsky met Annie Suwan, he went through hardships that changed the course of his life. He divorced his wife of 21 years, lost his job and his home, weighed over 350 pounds, and suffered a stroke. He said on 90 Day Fiancé, "My life was in a place that I don't wish on my worst enemy." 3 years later, David bounced back from his rough patch and decided to pack his bags and travel to Thailand for a fresh start. Annie, who was then 24, grew up in a small village in Thailand, but was living in its capital city of Bangkok, working at a hotel and singing in a band to make a better life for herself. For the 48-year-old divorcee, who, as fate would have it, happened to be at the same bar Annie was performing at one night, it was love at first listen. David told the list, "I heard Annie singing, and she has a voice of an angel."
I offered to buy her a drink, and we started talking, and we went out from there.
And that was the beginning of their love story. After David and Annie met, things moved pretty quickly. In fact, for David, it took a total of 10 days for him to know Annie was the one. The moment that sealed the deal was on one of their first dates. The couple went shopping at the Thai-Cambodia border market, which sells home goods and clothing at a discount. While they were there, Annie was purchasing items for her family instead of for herself. David told the list. She was buying for her little brothers and buying for her mom and for her dad. I was like, what a genuine heart she has.
After dating for a week or two, I proposed to Annie. And of course she said yes.
As a U.S. citizen, David had to then apply for the K-1 or the Fiancé visa in order to be able to bring Annie to the States. Once she was stateside, the law stipulated that she had 90 days in which to marry David. Although it only took a matter of days for David to fall in love with Annie, he's still proving he's worthy of her love on a daily basis. David told Parade, "My life is like 50 first dates. Every day, I have to make her fall in love with me." There are countless spin-offs of the TLC reality show that follows fan-favorite couples after their 90 Day Fiancé journey. For those who are rooting for David and Annie, they're fortunate to be able to find them in many of these sister shows. David and Annie are so transparent with their fans. They literally bring viewers into their home. On 90 Day Fiancé Pillow Talk, David revealed to the list, "It's filmed in our bedroom. That is our house." On that series, the 90 Day alums get to express their opinions on the current stars of the show. During the COVID-19 pandemic, David and Annie starred in yet another spin-off, 90 Day Fiancé Self-Quarantined. The lovebirds showed how they managed through the lockdown, shopping for groceries and making time for romance as well. For David and Annie, first came love, then came marriage, but in between came a host of issues.
It has not been easy, but it is getting better.
One of the hurdles David and Annie had to face was the fact that in Thai tradition, the man has to present his future bride's parents with a hefty dowry. But because of his financial woes, David wasn't certain he'd be able to provide the $25,000 that was asked of him.
I'm extremely stressed and worried because the mounting costs of marrying a Thai woman is beyond my expectations, and I'm running short.
Another point of contention between the couple was David's alcohol use, which was apparent throughout the season. It occurred at their joint bachelor-bachelorette party in Thailand and showed up again in America. David told Parade, "But that's the place that I was at. In a sense, I'm glad now to share that you can be in a bad place and get better. If you or anyone you know is struggling with addiction issues, help is available." Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSA's National Helpline at 1-800-662-HELP. 4357. With their friendly personalities and loving natures, Annie and David set themselves apart as fan favorites, and as a result, they've used their popularity to pad their bank accounts with multiple side hustles. For one, David and Annie can be found on Cameo, a website where you can find your favorite celebrities and have them craft personalized videos for loved ones. The power couple have earned the rank of being one of the 10 highest earners on the site. They're so popular on Cameo that they'd recorded 3,200 personalized messages by March 2021, charging $57 per shout-out, which means they've made over $185,000 through this outlet. During the COVID-19 pandemic, pandemic, David and Annie even launched a cooking show, highlighting the cuisine from Annie's native Thailand. On Spice It Up with David and Annie, the dynamic duo cooks up classics like egg fried rice and spring rolls, while exchanging fun and flirty banter. David and Annie make sure to carve out time from their busy TV schedule to celebrate their honeymoon over and over again. The couple got married in November of 2017, but take so many trips that they consider them all just extensions of that first one they took together. Additionally, their Instagram pages are filled with shots of them on lavish vacations in exotic locations like Cancun, Mexico, Zanzibar, Tanzania, and of course, Annie's native Thailand. In fact, David and Annie love traveling so much that they started their own YouTube channel, David and Annie's Travels. Their adventures include trips in the States, such as to the Grand Canyon, and far-off lands like Bali. David explained to Parade, "That's one of our passions. I've been to 64 countries." Although most find these 90 Day Fiancé fan favorites very endearing, there are others who love to hate David and Annie. The couple understands that part of their lives as reality stars includes dealing with trolls on social media. At the end of the day, David and Annie rely on each other for moral support. There are times, though, when the insults get personal. During David and Annie's time on 90 Day Fiancé self-quarantined, the mixed-race couple candidly spoke about the anti-Asian messages Annie received during the COVID-19 pandemic.
I do worry for her because we live in a world right now where people are looking to express their anger towards others.
Although people feel the need to make anti-immigrant comments to Annie, she knows she has the unwavering support of her husband and her legion of fans to get her through it. She told The List, "Thank God a lot of people just back me up in a lot of stuff I have on social media. That's helped a lot." Another big part of David and Annie's 90 Day Fiancé season involved David's familial strife. When David got engaged to Annie, his daughter Ashley, understandably, had her doubts about her father's new relationship with a woman younger than she was. Viewers will never forget the 90-day scene where Ashley throws a glass of water in her dad's face after he brought Annie home to Kentucky.
Since your relationship is irrelevant to us.
Then leave.
That's all water under the bridge now, since they've overcome their differences and have a happy, blended family. Annie told E! News, "We try to spend more time with them to get more connection, and now our relationship is getting better." In an interview with Access, Annie reflected on the past with Ashley and can understand where she was coming from when they first met. "When I look back in the days when she first met me, I'm younger than her. She doesn't know who I am. She doesn't know what intention I have with her father." Since they are such fan favorites and have been married for years now, Annie and David often get asked about whether they'll be having children. In an interview with Us Weekly, David was open with the fact that he'd had a vasectomy, making it impossible for him to have children unless he gets it reversed. He said, "Well, there would have to be a surgical procedure for me to have before that's possible. We practice 4 or 5 times a week." So what does Annie have to say about welcoming little ones in the future? She told Us Weekly, "We don't need children to make our love stronger. It would be awesome if we had, but right now, that's not going to be a serious conversation." For both Annie and David, being together meant they experienced culture shock in order to make their relationship work. To marry David, Annie had to leave her family in Thailand behind, and the couple admitted that the 90 Day Fiancé scene that's the most difficult for them to watch is when Annie says goodbye to them. Being from a small village also made it overwhelming for Annie when she arrived in the US. Because of his commitment to Annie, David took a crash course in Thai tradition by doing things like presenting Annie's parents with a dowry and buying them water buffalo as wedding gifts. A year after their wedding, David posted a photo of their baby water buffalo on Instagram with the caption, "I guess this is the interest payment on my dowry." David told E! News, "The blending of culture, that's really what I think helps in a relationship. And you kind of learn is half the fun of being a blended family and exploring each other's cultures and opening up your mind." One of the reasons why Annie and David have no plans of retiring from their 90-day TV career is that they feel they are a part of one big, happy, and sometimes dysfunctional family. In an interview with The List, David talked about the strong bond he feels with everyone in the beloved franchise. He said, "Not just the cast members, but the fans. We feel like one family. We're all part of the 90-day family. It's an honor and a privilege to be part of this." David also noted that the producers and crew who are behind the scenes, and actually in the couple's home for the taping of Pillow Talk, are also part of this tight-knit community. David and Annie have also made close friendship with many of their castmates. From their season of 90 Day Fiancé, they still keep in touch with many of the couples that stayed together, such as David and Evelyn, Andre and Elizabeth, and Josh and Ika. And because of their active involvement in spin-offs like Bears All, the couple has expanded their 90-day relationships to include cast members from other seasons as well. So what are the keys to a lasting reality show union? Just ask Annie and David, who seem to have it all figured out. The inseparable pair, who did struggle at first, are testaments to the fact that if there's true love present in a relationship, all will work out in the end. And for viewers who've witnessed the progression of David and Annie's marriage on all of the 90-day spin-offs they're a part of, it's apparent that the reality stars are extremely genuine. Annie explained to Entertainment Tonight, "You know, honestly, we just be ourselves, no matter camera or camera off. But it will be just our lifestyle. What you see is what you get when you meet us." Another reason why Annie and David have gone down in reality show history as a success story is the fact that they've stayed committed to one another, even when times were tough. David shared with The List, "We stuck together. We say this to everybody. If two people stick together, you love together." The other aspects that bolster Annie and David's happy marriage are flirty Instagram posts. Annie giving her doting hubby a Thai massage every day, and David bringing his wife coffee every morning. In an interview with Parade, David stressed another part of the recipe for a healthy relationship, saying, quote, "Happy wife, happy life."
He made me laugh so hard, and I love to laugh.
Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more list videos about your favorite reality TV stars are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.